Try, you can't stop us now.
We are back live, and we do need to have the focus on the documents, the massacres, the killing, the fact that the war is a disaster, that the troops are in there being forced to grow the opium, instead of just obsessing over WikiLeaks. We need to look at those documents themselves, and the controlled media has been pretty successful at spinning it away from that. Brigitta Jonsdottir, looking over these documents, I mean, how long ago did you know about the documents before they released them?
Just a little while before. There is actually so much occurring in Iceland that I've had to put my focus on there in the last month or so. But what I've seen, and just from reading, I wasn't particularly impressed with The Guardian. I wish I could read Der Spiegel, which is a very reputable German weekly magazine. I was disappointed with the take of the New York Times on it. It was way too soft somehow and just didn't really get into the grittiness of it. What it shows us is that the war is actually not going as well as the mainstream media and the Obama administration has been depicting for the world. And I do feel, this is a NATO operation. Iceland is, for example, a member of NATO, and we have sent people there. Even though we don't have a military, they now changed it into Peace Corps. But I have been told by somebody that served there that this is just military training. So I think every NATO country, for example, needs to... I do think I am a part of... I go to the NATO parliamentary meetings. And ironically, I'm a part of that. I believe we need also people that work for peace and pacifists.
Being a member of the Icelandic-parliment and being able to go to these NATO meetings, what is the sense of Europe? I mean, I've read in the polls that the people do not want to be in Afghanistan.
Yes, and, for example, I really don't think that anybody has a comprehensive understanding of the purpose of this war. I mean, first, many people felt it was like a revenge against the 9/11 attack in the U.S. Then they wanted to liberate the Afghanis from themselves or the Taliban or the opium lords. And now we get news about, and it's been known for years, that the opium trade is so strong in Afghanistan. How is that possible? We heard also, I remember that there was very much propaganda around that NATO wanted to help Afghanistan to build schools and liberate women and so forth. Is that really happening? Is the infrastructure of Afghanistan stronger? I don't think so. So what is the purpose of this war? Let's talk about that. What is the purpose of the war in Afghanistan?
From your research, what is the purpose?
Well, it's about natural resources. What else?
Yeah, it's about opium, it's about lithium, it's about oil and gas pipeline routes. It's
Exactly.
also about being a strategic base to menace Russia, Pakistan, and China.
I mean, NATO means the North Atlantic Military Alliance or whatever, and it's very far from the North Atlantic. What is NATO doing in Afghanistan?
Yeah, NATO has announced in the last 5 years they want to be a global force now.
Oh, really? Yeah, exactly. Well, I think that that is not, for example, the vision of those. Very many people in Iceland are not happy with Iceland being part of NATO because we want to be a pacifist nation.
Brigitta, do you think that this is going to have the same effect that the Pentagon Papers did with finally starting the end of the Vietnam War? Do you I mean, because this is earth-shaking if we're able to actually get the information out to the people.
Well, Daniel Ellsberg says that he compares this to the Pentagon Papers, and he is, of course, the person responsible for that leak. He is a person that I greatly respect, and I encourage people to listen to what he's been saying about this leak, and WikiLeaks as well. I hope that this will be the end of this war, but I really do also hope that the material that has been leaked on WikiLeaks and elsewhere about the reality of war, modern warfare, and the motivations behind these wars will give people enough power to actually stop the next war looming. We all know that they are trying to start a war against Iran. They want to have much more stronghold in this region. So This should be an empowerment for those that are sick of all the spending on military while people are, starving in our world.
Well, I just hope that people realize that we're not in Afghanistan for the different reasons we've been given in the past. How was the Icelandic media covering WikiLeaks?
They're quite positive about it, except, of course, the predictable media. It's always the same. It's this left and right gameplay.
Brigitta, final segment with you straight ahead. Any subjects you want to talk about, the latest with your fight against the banking looting, the banking occupation forces there, and the info you wanted to get into concerning the Gulf of Mexico spill. We'll be right back with a member of parliament from Iceland.
Defending the Republic from enemies, foreign and domestic. It's Alex Jones.
We got Ray McGovern. He thinks the WikiLeaks situation is huge news, very important. He's had a chance to analyze some of the 92,000 documents. He'll be joining us 30 minutes to the next hour. And then the father of the birther movement, a lot of key intel he's developed. Attorney Phil Berg's joining us in the last half of the next hour. Going back to Brigitta Jonsdottir, I've asked her a lot of questions. I appreciate her joining us. I want you to get into the banking fight and then the intel you wanted to get into, the info you're getting that we're not getting in the mainstream media about the oil spill. Now the new CEO of BP US says, yeah, it may still be leaking. So we're seeing a lot of deception there. But before we do that, how do folks support Iceland and your movement to beat the banking takeover?
Well, I guess the best way of supporting us is just to support any attempts in your own countries to change the way we handle the monetary system. We need to rethink the way we do banking. The way I see reserve banking, it is a criminal act. And we are hoping, it looks actually quite positive that the best bank will be established in the city of Reykjavik. It is being looked into now by the Reykjavik City Council. And there is sort of a growing understanding among people, and I'm actually attending tonight a meeting about the monetary system in Iceland, a grassroots group that has also been bringing forward this idea about the best bank, which is based on the model of North Dakota. You already have so many fantastic things in place in your country that would be fantastic to see if you would do this in each and every state. For example, to have like the Bank of North Dakota, it is such an incredibly fantastic model to base, and to have business with. So, I guess the best support we could have right now is, like I have asked before, is if you have any information, deep information about how the IMF functions, any recent good documentaries about the IMF, how they roll over nations and destroy them, that would be very useful. We're trying to form a group and we're going to have a big rally next month to raise awareness about who is really in charge in Iceland. And there's been actually regular protests outside their offices. My biggest concern right now is the IMF and their influence on our energy sector and their desire and or actually their demand that we will prioritize our energy sector, which has always been publicly owned and should still be publicly owned. We are just, I think the biggest support is actually just growing awareness about, just keep your eyes on Iceland and support the IMI initiative. But I like to see it as I like to see people in general just wake up and realize that they are the change, even though this is an Obama slogan. I think it's a good slogan. I think each and every one of us have to remember that we as individuals can change the world, and now is really the time for that. In relation to the BP, I don't have a lot of insiders information. I just want to encourage people, if they do have information that they feel that the general public should have access to just leak it. It's simple. Everybody needs to be aware of what is really going on there. The storm season is about to break on, isn't it, in August, that we have the hurricanes and so forth. I think also it is important to encourage journalists and activists to work very thoroughly together in investigating also the history of BP, because I've heard that there have been similar accidents like the one in the Gulf of Mexico in South America that got very little report about.
Well, you're right. BP has the worst safety record in the United States alone. They have had more violations and more disasters, according to the Associated Press, than all the other oil companies in the Houston area combined. And now their last CEO has gone to Russia, and the guy they had running Russia BP operations, he's become the new head here. So it's just amazing.
Yes, and I think if we can dig enough information about them and get it into the mainstream media. I mean, I saw a video clip from CNN saying that the First Amendment was being broken on them, and because they couldn't report about, for example, the people that are getting sick, that are working in the cleaning effort, about all the animals, small and large, that are dying, and just the fact that they did this experiment with chemicals so that the oil spill is, 90% underwater, so you can't see it. And then, it's a blackout, media blackout. So the media is completely controlled, just like the war in, the first Iraqi war. And, I just encourage everybody to both pull together the information and harass your local representatives so that you can actually get an understanding what is really going on. And I think that... in general, if we allow the big corporations to do, their criminal activities unpunished, and just to turn away when people are in distress, like, is in that entire region, then we haven't learned anything. Then they're winning.
Well, you're right. I mean, then it allows them to set the precedent to get away with anything they want. Brigitta Jonsdottir, a member of the Icelandic Parliament, really leading the opposition against the banking takeover and having a lot of success. We salute your great work, and God bless you. And if more people had the same spirit of liberty that you have, we wouldn't be in such bad shape. So I hope that your spirit of freedom does infect others. And, of course, much of what she's talking about is in the film, The Secret of Oz. I would add it's available at Infowars.com. Brigitta, thank you for joining us on short notice. What's the best website for people to visit to find out more about your work?
It's probably just best to get onto Facebook. I have a fan page there where I'm actually quite active there to both put in the newest links and films and so forth. And I really strongly want to urge people to see a very, very important film called Flow, For the Love of Water. You can see that for free on the internet. It is about the privatization of water. And I strongly urge everybody to see that particular film. And I urge people to be in touch either via Facebook or you go to my personal website. If you Google my name, you can find that. This should pop up first.
All right. All right, Brigitta Jonsdottir, God bless you. We'll talk to you again soon. Keep it up.
You too.
All right, there goes, thank you. There goes Brigitta Jonsdottir. And by the way, the maker of this film, director Bill Still, who made The Money Masters, went to Iceland. That's in his film. It's got Ellen Brown, Byron Dale, Joseph Farah, Professor Michael Hudson, James Robertson, Peter Schiff, Professor Quentin Taylor, and many others. It is available at Infowars.com. Discounted, it exposes the banking cartel and solutions of how to stop these people.